Hello and welcome back to the game room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love talking about? Games. And it seems like a lot of people these days who cover games seem to hate them. Or at least the people who play them. Well, that's not me, and that's not the 1,863 of you beautiful people checking out this video here today. Well, I hope everyone that celebrates it had a Merry Christmas yesterday. It's actually Christmas Eve right now while I'm filming this because there's no way I'd be able to get this video done on Christmas. So even though I'm not quite there yet, I always say December 26th is my least favorite day of the year because it's the longest possible time before more Christmas. So I thought I would cheer myself up this day by looking forward to 2024 and seeing what games I would like to get knocked off my backlog next year. And if that sounds like an interesting topic to you, let's check it out. There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is my game room.
So there's a lot of games in my collection I would like to play if I had the time, but these are the ones that I kind of narrowed down that I would really like to tackle. So let's get started with the first one, which was one of my holy grail games I picked up this year. I think I've mentioned it before, but when it comes to these really expensive games, what I do is I like to compile my cash back for my various credit cards, and then once I have a couple $100s, then it's like, okay, what's a $200 game that I would not buy, but let's pick it up. And the one I picked up this time is a game called Kudelka. And I've been looking for this for quite some time here. And it's almost a Resident Evil mix with a turn-based RPG. It looks like the combat system is a little tactical in nature, and I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's also the progenitor to the Shadow Hearts series, which is another series I haven't checked out. I'd like to check out more of, but it's a PS1 game. It's it's very dark and ominous, and it just looked interesting. It's definitely a Halloween game through and through, and I think I picked it up during Halloween this year. I can't remember. I got a good deal on it though for what it's going for. I've seen this up in the 300s, and I didn't pay anywhere close to that. And this is a clean copy, has the manual, has the discs. But I'm looking forward to checking this out. So this is definitely one that if I don't get any of these other ones done in 2024, I definitely want to check out Kudelka. Alright, so another one that I would like to check out, which recently I think I don't know if it's been added to the Switch Online, but it should. But I love me some Zelda 2. And over the years, I've learned there's more and more Zelda 2 clones. Things like Infernax and Faxanadu, and to some extent, those Apotheon, some games like that. Well, one that's supposedly exactly like Zelda 2 and on the NES is the Battle of Olympus, which I knew nothing of this game. In fact, the only reason I picked this up is because I bought it off of a YouTube friend of mine back in the day named Benevolent Dick, who I haven't heard from in forever. But this was his copy, and I bought it off him, and I still have yet to play it. And it's one of those things where in the past I've considered doing a Zelda 2 clone month, when I was doing theme months or things of that nature. I don't know, but I think I'm finally going to find some time to pop this bad boy in and check out what the Battle of Olympus is like, because that sounds pretty dang cool. Alright, here's a game I picked up this year that is an arcade conversion that never came out on console back in the day. It is made by the team that made Strider, and this was supposedly Strider 2, but then they changed it up, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle and no one really talks about it. I saw it on an episode of Game Sack of all things, and through that I was able to purchase a copy because it was on physical, and that is Cannonball Osman. Really ridiculous name, but the combat looked interesting. I mean, it's an arcade game. I could probably beat this in one sitting, which is kind of part of the reason why I want to check it out. But it had this really cool looking water level. I'm not super attached to Strider. I have played some Strider Limited. I played Run Saber back in the day, like back in the days, and 3-4 years ago. That's back in the day now. But this looked interesting, so I'd like to give this one a shot. Definitely one where if I have a free weekend and I'm trying to plug a hole, like this is a plug a hole game between new releases, because 2023 was a killer year for new releases. I don't know what 2024 is looking like. There's not really much on my radar yet, But then again, that could change any time. So another one that I definitely want to get to, this is probably the game I want to play the most just based on how it was received this year and with my history with the studio. I don't have a copy of it because the physical edition is not out yet, and that is Baldurs Gate 3. So I really want to dive into Baldurs Gate 3, especially because I don't have much on the horizon next year as far as games I'm looking forward to. I feel like I could really sink my teeth into this game, play it off and on for maybe 1 or 2 months even, and hopefully get my mind around the Larian system, because I feel almost shameful as a gamer that I have not been able to get into these games. And there's got to be something wrong with it. So now I got the glasses. I can read that tiny text. Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot of cool things. You know, I got to find that bear that you can sleep with. That sounds like a very important thing to do. And I just hopefully it's a good time. Generally, I don't like it when games are so open-ended that I don't have any sort of roadmap. I'd much rather experience a crafted story that's laid in front of me rather than bulldoze my way through a story, because I'm that kind of person who holds on to all of his potions and elixirs till the end of the game for fear of using them. Whereas I feel if you're not afraid to break a few eggs or smash in a few doors, these games can be a lot more enjoyable. But then for myself, if I make that decision, I'm going to constantly be like, God, what if I hadn't done that? Was the other way to do it? And yeah, I know they do it so they make repeat playthroughs, but on such a long game, it can really bog you down. And anyways, Baldur's Gate 3, I definitely want to check out in 2024. Now, here's one that I've just been on the fence about since it came out. I picked it up from my buddy Artur, whose wife was working at Sony at the time, and I got it for like $10, $20. And even then, I still haven't played it because they did Joel so dirty, and that is The Last of Us Part 2. I've heard such divisive things about this game, but I will say the unifying factor is the people who tell me the game is good have actually played it. And the people who say the game is terrible, I do not know have actually played it. They're kind of going based off of the window dressing, which I will agree, the window dressing looks terrible. But I do respect the opinions of people like Rewind My Captain Algebra, people who say the game is good. So, God, I want to give it a shot for myself. So I'm thinking this year I would like to try this. I know they're remaking it for some reason with the Last of Us Part 1 engine. Okay, Naughty Dog, you can stop. But I want to check it out. I want to see what it's like for myself. I don't know how I'm going to get over the Joel stuff. And from what I've read of the story, holy crap. But the combat was really fun in the first one, so maybe I will enjoy that. All right. Now, here's a game that I have given up on, and I know people have given me enough crap for it. I've given myself enough crap for it, and I want to actually go through and finally beat Resident Evil 2 Remake. I want to say the last thing I remember getting to when I played this was to the underground garage, which I do not remember being in the original Resident Evil 2, but that's okay. They add a few things. That's what's nice about Resident Evil 1 Remake is they add some larger areas like the graveyard they added. So that's as far as I remember. I do remember not enjoying the knife bit where you lose your knife. And just the fact that these zombies are constantly following you. And God, once I get to Mr. X, I'm going to be pooping my pants left and right. But I will get through this. This one and Kudelka, actually, no, I'm not going to be that motivated on this. But maybe you can make me motivated on it. Yeah, I have a lot. It's funny, looking at these, I have a lot of horror games listed for this year. But one that is probably going to be atrocious. And I just kind of want to see the dumpster fire for myself. Because I knew when I played the demo, this game was going to get reamed. And oh man, when it did, I was so smugly satisfied. And that is Forspoken. I don't know what draws me to want to play this junk, but I want to see it for myself. I want to see how bad it is. Because it did have some cool... The freneticness and the fluidity of the combat I could see paying dividends and being fun. But everything else about it was just awful. But hey... I picked it up for my $15, like I told you guys, and this one I'm definitely going to check out at some point next year. I'm definitely going to check that out. Okay, I had some comments last time about the debate about which game do you play, Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill 3. As much as I understand you probably should do 3 before 2 because it's chronologically in order, I am going to be doing Silent Hill 2. So Silent Hill 2 is one that I definitely want to check out. Yeah, don't look at my washed out cover that got me a huge discount on this game, alright? Don't judge me. I'm a poor father here. My wife will tell you, we're spending too much money on games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Silent Hill 2. So after playing the first one, getting my feet wet, I'm looking forward to seeing where the story progresses, and I believe this is the one that introduces Pyramid Head, which was terrifying when I saw him for the brief period I saw in Silent Hill Homecoming, so I can only imagine how bad it is in the actual game. So, looking forward to that bad boy, see when we get to that. Alright, now this one's a twofer. So this was a video I saw from my buddy Avalanche Jared, who covered Remedy Games, who I did not know were the progenitors of the Max Payne series. I thought this was a Rockstar series, but it actually was, well, it is Rockstar, but Remedy made it and then I guess sold it off to Rockstar. So I want to check out Max Payne 1 and I want to check out Max Payne 2. I really want to see what these games are like, because I remember when these came out and it just looked like a GTA clone, but with bullet time physics, and I just wasn't motivated enough. I really missed a lot of the PS2 generation. I had no interest other than using it as a DVD player, and when WoW came out, it really just cemented that. So I missed out on Max Payne. That's one of the games I would love to check out, and that's why I picked up both copies, 1 and 2, and we'll see what it is. Like that one, I'll say, Kudelka and Max Payne, those are the top ones. Not Resident Evil. I'm gonna go back and forth. Really, it's Kudelka. We'll see what I end up doing. I have no idea what next year's gonna look like. All right, now I have knocked out a lot of Super Nintendo RPGs over the years, but there's one that I have yet to attempt, and I think this is one of the. I said this last time with Grand Stream Saga, but this one I think is the last Super Nintendo dedicated RPG from Quintet that I have yet to try, and that is Robo Trek. Which is funny, this game is called Slapstick in Japan. So you see this, it looks like an ultra serious cyber sci-fi Death Star on the cover, but then it's called Slapstick in Japan, and I've seen brief things about the game in reviews and other kind of videos like that, and it does not match this vibe whatsoever. So I'm up for it. I'm up for checking it out. So that's one I would like to get knocked out, because that and ActRaiser 2 are the only Quintet Super Nintendo games I have yet to play. And as ActRaiser 2 is really just more of an action game, I'd like to check this one out. Okay, Magus Trigger. I'm doing this just for you, buddy. You know what game it is. It is Genesis Shadowrun. This poor guy has been begging me to play this for years. I played the Super Nintendo Shadowrun, and I thought it was decent. But no, it's apparently not the same game. You gotta play the Genesis one. I really can't stand playing the Genesis, but for you, I will do my damnedest to get this game covered next year. So we'll see. We'll see if we can play some Shadowrun on the Genesis, because it does look way different. Let's look at the screenshot. It looks way different than the game I played. And I hear it is way different. Like I said, cyberpunk stuff isn't really my vibe, but I will give it a shot. And who knows, maybe I'll be eating my words, being like, man, I should have played this way sooner. Alright, but a Genesis game that I actually do want to play, although I would rather play the sequel, but it's just hard for me to skip a series, like skip into the next game. But one that my friend Daria always talks about, whenever you talk about Genesis powerhouse games, it's not Fire Emblem, but it is the Genesis's answer to it, and that is Shining Force. So Shining Force 1. Now, I do have Shining Force 2, but I want to play this one first. And I've heard these are just wonderful games. I've heard it's one of those series that you have very passionate fans that love Shining Force, and I'd just like to know what the deal. What's the deal with Shining Force? So I really want to check this out. Know how the nuances are a little different, because I've heard it is very similar to Fire Emblem, and I love Fire Emblem, so I should love Shining Force. Now, another game that I can't show you because it does not have a physical version, but I did download it, is the third Vandal Hearts. So I think it's Vandal Hearts Fire and Blood, or I really should have remembered what the title. Anyways, it's the download-only Vandal Hearts game for the Xbox 360 and the PS3 that came out in 2010, 2009. I want to check it out. I want to see what it's like. No one talks about it. And I love the first Vandal Hearts. I really love the second Vandal Hearts. And so let's finish the trilogy. Let's finish the trilogy and check out what the one on the... I have it on the Xbox 360. So let's see what that plays like. Let's see how it is. And I think that'd be really fun to go through and play another Xbox arcade game circa 2010. Because that's really, at least for myself, that's really when I started getting into these indie scene download titles anyways. So yeah, that's one I want to check out this year. Getting down to the last few physical. So another game that I picked this up from an article. I think it was an article talking about PS1 hidden gems, and this one says you're basically playing as Boba Fett, but it has nothing to do with Star Wars. And it's called Crusader No Remorse. And it's an isometric view game, and it just looks really interesting. This could be something like True Lies on the SNES, where it's fun, but it runs its course, or it could be something genuinely fun. But I've stopped myself from playing this several times just because I want to make sure I'm in the right mindset for it, because it's nonstop action with serious attitude. So we need to make sure that we let this red Boba Fett know we mean business when we're ready to get started. So I want to check out Crusader No Remorse for sure next year. Another one I want to check out because it just got put onto the Nintendo Switch Online is the creme de la creme Zelda clones for Genesis that is called Crusader of Centi. The game I wish I picked up back in 2015, because now it's even more expensive, but alas, at least I have a way to play it, so I can play it on that, or I can play it on my Sega Genesis Mini 2. I'm kind of cool off that. If I have a legit way to play a game, I kind of cool off needing to own the physical copy, unless it's just something I really have to have. Or a PS1 game, because I seem to be really attracted to PS1 physical games lately. But yeah, Crusader of Centi, I want to check out. I've played Beyond Oasis, I've played Newtopia, I played, Tunic recently, and I love Zelda clones, 3D Dot Game Heroes. I love seeing how they warp the formula, make it better, or make it different. And Crusader of Centi, I've heard, is a very, very solid attempt at it. And I think you're saving animals, and it's got a nice looking art style. It doesn't really look like a Genesis game. That's what attracts me to it. It looks more like an SNES game the way it's drawn, because it doesn't have those. There's just a certain look with the Genesis that turns me off with a lot of these games. Like, look at Beyond Oasis, like that versus Crusader of Centi. I like Crusader better because it just looks better, and I like the name too. I mean, obviously, I said Crusader of Centi and Crusader No Remorse. I guess it's the year of the Crusade. Anyways, so yeah, I want to check out Crusader of Centi. Another game I want to check out, I don't have it yet. Today is Christmas Eve. I'm assuming I'm getting it. Is Star Ocean Second Story R. So I have not played Star Ocean Second Story on the PS1, and this remake, I think it would make sense to play over the original. So I want to check out that because, once again, gotta support Square Enix when they're making games that I actually want to play, and I'd like to check that out and see what it's like. That was the kind of the one person out of the boat this year as far as new games that came out that I wanted to play. Much like Diofield Chronicles was that game last year, just because it came out when Mario Wonder and Mario RPG and Spider-Man 2, so it was the odd man out, but we're definitely going to check that out next year. And then I believe the last game that we're going to talk about here is Tactical Rescue Assault Group, or TRAG. Ridiculous name. Very hard to find it when you're looking for it on eBay because of the periods. But I remember getting a pretty decent deal on this. And it is a Resident Evil clone as far as the way the characters move. So it's tank controls. But it's much more action-based. So, yeah. I've looked into it a little bit. It looks very, very schlocky, just the way I like it. And I think it's going to be a good time. So TRAG. Love me some RE clones, especially the movement. If it's not as scary and I don't have to be cowering as much, maybe I'll get through these more. Because I've been looking for more of these PS1 games that have tank controls, just because I miss it. I miss it. What can I say? For better or worse, I enjoy playing games that way. And that's it. That's all of them right there. So those are, 18 games? I think 18 games I want to check out in 2024. Let me know about some backlog games you guys want to check out for next year, and let's see how I do on this. It'd be interesting. Next year we'll go back and see what I did, how it went, and yeah, it'd just be fun little doing this. But anyways, that's all you get for this week. Have a happy and safe New Year, everyone. I hope you had a great Christmas if you celebrated. This year has just been wonderful. Like I said, the amount of growth we had was unprecedented for the channel. So thank you all so much. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, commenting. Even the lurkers in the back. I see Andrew. Thank you, bud. Always love hearing from you out there in Hawaii. And it's really, I'm very grateful for all of you. I can't say it enough. So thank you guys. You make doing this fun. You make doing this fun. For a long time here, it has felt like I've just been skidding my wheels. So the fact that I'm able to share my knowledge and passion and interest with other people who share it or comment or challenge me in the comments too, I always try. I'm always going to be respectful to you, but you can say horrible things to me and I'll let you. To a point. Just about me. Anyways, I'm going off the rails here. I hope you guys have a good new year, and I'll see you back in January, where we get for another year of Luke's Game Room. All right, it's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.